Good morning, good evening, good night. It's NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We're bringing you the latest NFT and Web3 news from around this industry with some of the best creators in the game. Some of the OGs of all, are we all doing it? Okay. All right. Yeah, I can't leave the screen. I'm tied in. You guys can't all leave. I've got Ronan the collector here. I've got Gift Dead fresh off his GM Web3 morning show. Well, let's have Ronan here. Ronan, what do you do from like 8 to 11 a.m. before you hop on this show?
Work.
Okay.
Work.
Fair enough.
No, realistically, the first half of that is pickleball. The second half of that is work.
Nice.
I play literally like 4 or 5 times a week at this point. It's a good way to get the day going, get the blood flowing, get a little competitive, competition going in the morning. So, guess they started right.
Gets
Yeah.
the anger from the
Oh
bear
shit!
market
Hold
out.
up! I just noticed what Gift's wearing. You guys could keep chatting.
I saw you going down. I saw Ronan going down to Miami recently for the pickleball house.
Snap.
Hey,
That fits well on
let's
Ronan.
go. Yeah, it fits way.
Match.
Better.
Yo,
It fits
this
way
this shit looks
better-
good.
It fits way better than your squiggle jersey. Just saying.
Way better than
Do we
Square
have to
jersey.
fud Wagner United on every show?
I mean, look,
They deserve it.
This is only the true OGs, the real ones, know about these Hexspawn tees. So mad respect. But yeah, Ronan, I saw you heading down to Miami for the pickleball house, hanging out with Double D, Mr. Drew Denzeisen. How was that?
Oh, dude, that was cool, man. That was a really cool event. I think that's when I realized like this like sport is really gonna blow up, and it's for a lot of really good reasons, right? Like it was cool. It was a networking event. It was also a fundraising event. So we were doing fundraising for Clean Miami Beach as well as was it Udon Haslam? Is that
Udonis.
right? Udonis, yes, Haslam Foundation, which was cool. So like we purchased some pickleball courts, which is like the surface that you can play the game on, and then we donated those to the local foundation. And the next morning we actually went out. The guys who installed them, those guys worked hard, man. They uninstalled them the night after the event and then reinstalled them at the local park, all in one night. And then the next day we went and we got to teach the kids how to play pickleball. There's a group of 25 kids. Shout out to Yuga, which is the sponsor that we work with, as well as Dick's Sporting Goods, Chick-fil-A. They had food, man. Yuga gave all the kids who attended got paddles to take home. That were kind of lightly used for like training classes and stuff. And then they're all getting brand new ones shipped to their home with like custom paddle faces. So yeah, man, it was just cool. It was a feel good. I think like what the sport does is it brings community together. Everybody from literally, man, I played an 11-year-old kid and his grandfather who was, I think like 60. And it was me and this lady who was probably like, I don't know, 48. And we got our butts whooped, dude. That little 11-year-old was kicking our butt. And that's what's cool about the sport is that it spans like generations that anybody can play. You can get out there. It's easy to learn. So
I see
yeah,
it.
it was a
I
lot of
see
fun.
it as like.
Do we transition to pickleball players?
Yes, I
That's
see
what
it.
I'm doing. You guys might need to consider
Got it,
it with the
got
way
it.
things are going.
I see it as like the new golf for like a new generation because what I see is that it's fun, it's lighthearted activity and like a competitive sport, but really it's you said community, but people like to go socialize, which is one of the reasons people love golf. It's very much a social activity. It's like, yeah, you got kind of an activity and a competitive thing going on, but you could play it for a long time until you're old. And that's what I'm seeing is I think pickleball is going to be like a golf type thing for a whole new generation of people that just play it until they're super old. They love the social aspect, the community of it. And it's fun activity. So anyway, yeah, shout out Double D, our friend Drew Denzeisen from Eternal Rose, because he started this traveling tournament called Pickleball House, which is what you went down to Miami for and you're talking about. And yeah, you're talking about the pickle rolls, which is the courts. I was actually talking to Double. So we're on a quick pickleball tangent here, but it is a fascinating new sport. But I was talking to Double D about starting a business where we bought a couple of those pickle rolls and then like you know, like went and set them up for people when they're doing events. Cause this is a popular thing now, like corporate, you know, events, they like to have pickleball tournaments and shit. But he told me from that experience, he was like, nah, it's way too hard to move and install those things. So apparently it's actually pretty difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say this, here's some alpha you're not going to get on any other NFT channels, Web3 channels, right? Like if you look at the reason that, you know, a lot of people jumped into this space early and saw like what it could do, right? Like, and that astronomical rise, it is the same shit going on in pickleball. So if you are athletic, even if you're not really a super athletic person, but maybe you used to play ping pong or racquetball or badminton or tennis when you were younger, and you're like, man, I would just like to get out and do something. Discover the sport and then figure out what's a problem that needs solving, because right now it's just like Web3 2 years ago. So much money is coming into the space. There's a ton of opportunity to start something.
Say less, man.
Pickleball Live.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're pivoting. This is now Pickleball Live. Yep,
that's looking for investors.
All right, we have an NFT Live here today. We're going to cover which chains we think are going to survive in 2024. Of course, it is still a bear market. Gifted was looking for a word to go beyond bear. Like, is there something beyond the worst bear market that's ever existed? I'm not even sure this is the worst one. So if that gives you some context, I think the guys in like 2012 or like 2014, I think they went through some shit. Like there was nothing going on. So maybe there's some context there. But we do have to get to some of these chains and which ones we think. Solana, Polygon, Cardano, of course, is going to come up. But
you gotta follow our man Josh Squashman. He's like one of the best dudes in our chat every day. You're not following him from NFT Live?
To be fair, there's like 50 followers or 50 following on this account.
I feel like he's earned it.
Yeah,
I feel like that man's earned it.
You're the 71st follow here on NFT Live. So Josh Squashman, you are on the glow up today. ApeCoin DAO Election, Polygon 2.0, Snoop Dogg NFTs. We're going to cover a little bit of the utility with those. I typically am not the biggest fan of these celebrity drops, but I think he priced them at least in the right range. I do want to give some housekeeping here to Gifted as well. Talking about Turbo this morning. What's going on with Turbo?
That's what I'm asking. Something. I'm curious who knows why it's waking up. If you know, let us know in the chat. Maybe there's an announcement. Maybe people are just coming back around to the badass narrative that is Turbo, and they love to see it underpriced and everything's on sale right now. I don't know, but hey, it was up 70% on the 24 hours just a couple minutes ago. I should go check in again. But yeah, let us know if I missed a big announcement. Maybe there's something going on there. And
yeah, big announcement for us as well. Wild Wild Web is continuing to release episodes. This episode was with Harry Liu from Forge, a subsidiary of Animoca Brands. This was a great combo. I'm gonna play this clip real quick because I own it. This isn't some BS we're gonna get flagged for. I own this shit. Hopefully they know it. But we'll play this clip and then I'll share some info on the podcast.
See in a lot of NFT projects today that they're not succeeding on, so that they can, maybe even make it to next cycle.
Lack of, I would say, storytelling, right, and content. You guys are one of the exceptional company that can always make you anticipate, right, what's coming to next. But many of the projects, unlike Yuga, they already share all their roadmap, right? And that's bad because by sharing all the roadmap, if you get to hit all the roadmap items, you just deliver. By the time you deliver, there's nothing more excited than they move on. So many of the projects over promise, under deliver, and they don't know how to create a narrative to get people excited again and again.
What's the major issue?
So that was a clip from the episode. I believe we sat down for about 45 minutes. I'm going to link here the tweet, and that also has the link to Spotify, which is primarily where you can find this. That's kind of where we're going. But I know Apple Podcasts, Troina, you're an Apple Podcast user. That's open for everybody. So we usually put those out on YouTube as well. You're an Apple Podcaster, Ronan?
Yeah, dude. I use the hell out of that app.
Well, it's there for you to check out.
That and what's the audio one? Audible.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're, I think, going to be squarely here in the episode. We're going to get to the NFT Go Bag Check here in just a moment, but we got some probably quick news we can hit on. Anything you guys are doing this week that kind of stands out that we could pull up? Or if not, if it's just look, it's a bear market. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just watching the market on NFT Go on OpenSea every day. I see what's happening, and yeah, the news has been pretty light other than regulatory stuff. I was loving the Tom Emmer clips, yo. Like I was, oh my god, mwah. It's so good to see somebody who understands the technology pushing back on Capitol Hill. So that's been part of what I've been watching. But the other thing, just on an NFT side, that I think is interesting, besides seeing people trying to get me into like dinks and danks and shit that we were talking about yesterday.
People trying to get you into it.
Yeah, you know, there's the Whisper Network.
It felt like you were getting us into it yesterday, but go ahead.
I was trying to ask your honest opinions before I got further into any of those situations. But the one thing that I find interesting on today's trending, you know, NFTs is that Ben.eth orange square is sticking around. And you know, when we were talking about that, I did pick one up. Again, I haven't really been a fan of everything Ben.eth and all that fucking crazy drama, but there's something interesting here, and that is that, you know, he picked up on this early Twitter organizations meta, and so this could be one of those projects that kind of captured and defined an early meta that sticks around, because it's back up to almost a 0.15 floor. And yeah, like I don't know what just happened there, but look at all that volume popping off right there. Like,
yeah, it says floor price is 0.07. So maybe there's a discrepancy.
Oh, maybe on
Go.
Blur. Yeah, maybe it's a difference on Blur and NFT Go. I don't know, but on OpenSea it was up to like almost 0.15. So
yeah. Yeah, interesting. It's because it does say floor price 0.12. So yeah, I think you're right on that one. We also got a comment from Squashman here and Marty. Marty was saying, GIF in 5 minutes, buy boring punks, but not financial advice, which is what we should get to here in a second. But Squash also followed that up by saying, saw boring punks last night at 0.04, didn't pull the trigger, looked like another low effort punk deriv. Of course it explodes. Yet another shit I didn't buy.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really not usually ever a fan of derivatives. These are kind of fun because it's like a new 2D illustrative style on the punks. Like I'm just looking at them now. But does a derivative project like this really have legs? Like, is there anything behind this other than just some momentary hype? I don't know. Like, are people gonna want to rock these more because they look like punks, but they're like this fun 2D illustration style? This it's hard for me to not see this being just a narrative that kind of like peters out after a couple weeks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I could be very wrong.
You know, you never know with this space and derivatives. And to your point, like when you asked that question earlier, I was going to follow up with like GIF's initial statement of like, I'm just watching. And like, it is definitely one of those times where I feel like none of it really makes sense to me. You know, why one number is going up and another one number is going down. Like some of these projects that are doing work and actually like announcing shit don't move the needle. And some of these projects that have done nothing, you know, are worth twice as much. So, you know, I have no idea, man. It's so wild west. It's so like, you know, with the blur shit and like, you know, tokens and it being the middle of a bear, like this could happen, I think, honestly, to any collection. To me, it's just a matter of when the floor fouls out, not if it's going to fall out.
It has never been more true that we're trading shitcoins with pictures, because that's basically what this meta has become. And listen, it's the bear market. I get it. And that a lot of that has to do with the environment that we're in. Not a lot of people, you know, even some founders are probably staying away from this space right now because of that volume being so low, because the VC money hasn't completely dried up, but I'm sure it's not flowing like it did in 2022. In 2021. So
I'd argue it might be completely dried up.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that you can also now look at a whole litany and a history of different CryptoPunk derivatives and see like how many of them have had long-term successor legs. And I'll point to one example. If y'all remember the wides, y'all remember those?
Yeah.
That like had a whole moment. Like people were super bullish because they had this fun mechanic where every time that you traded them, every time there was a new transaction, it like expanded the art and they
Which
got
was
wider.
super cool.
It's a cool
Until
thing,
it
but
broke.
like, oh, see, it broke. Like, but I just mean like that's an example of something that everybody was like super bullish on. They thought like these were gonna be crazy awesome. Everybody would want a fucking wide.
Bought one live.
Oh, see, there you go. That was your cock punch.
Yeah, I bought
that was
it,
your
and it was
moment.
like, remember, you know, to your point, they had like stages of how wide they would get. And I remember I was live and I was like, yo, this one's super slim compared to all these other ones. I'm grabbing it. I'm going to sit on it forever because it's going to be slim, you know, forever. Right. Like, and I think, you know, we were speculating on like where the value would go in this collection. Right. So, you know, Bored Apes, like the values go into like more of the rares, you know, whatever. So I bought one specifically because it was still relatively small. Now I look at it and it's like completely stretched all the way the fuck out, and I haven't traded it, I haven't listed it, I haven't interacted with that NFT at all. So obviously what it was supposed to do didn't work. But to your point, it was just a flash in the pan, and I think we'll see lots of these. And Easy, I think, said it in best in chat. Peeps are just looking for anything to be excited about, you know. And honestly, I think if we're being honest, people are looking for anything to be excited about, to jump into, to then hopefully get out of and have made a positive sum of money. Mm-hmm. I think everyone feels that way. And I think everyone's a charlatan that's saying they're jumping into any project that just launched and being like, I love it for the art or for the roadmap or for what it's going to do and change the world. Because we're beyond that. Like,
see, I think both can exist in this same environment, right?
It's
just not at the same clip.
To your earlier point, do you think that PFP NFTs are anything more than shitcoins at this point?
I think that the number.
Do you think we are going to ever have a legitimate PFP like NFT project that pops off the same way that the OGs did?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that there will come along a company who does it right. I really do. I believe in my heart that that is the case. I think a lot of projects in the NFT space, even some from the OG times, like got caught with their pants down basically, or like they weren't as legit as we thought, and we propped up this like collector's mindset behind projects that people were really just trying to make a buck at the end of the day, you know. And so I do think that there will be more that come along. I just think that there's a lot of shit out there that was having lipstick on a pig during the bull.
Can we maybe look at one possible good project then? Like, we haven't really talked about Ether, but if you go to nftgo.io and go into the drops page, we can look at that. That's like 17 days out. It's a massively hyped project that has really high quality art and storytelling. Let's look at a project that actually has a lot behind it and just talk about that, because we haven't.
Here's a question that I feel like is warranted in this conversation. Outside of maybe, and I don't even know if Yuga like really even counts, right? Like, have we seen any project like deliver on the big picture? Deliver a full project, like a product or whatever you want to call it, out of like what they said they would. And what I mean by that is like, there's brands that like Oni, right, or Azuki, that are like, we are an IP brand. We are going to have comics and toys and television shows. Do we have anyone that said that's what they're going to do and have done it and been successful?
I think it's too early for a lot of that. Like, Oniforce is on its way, but it's like, to do what they're doing takes a massive amount of effort. Like, you don't just get a Netflix show from a brand new IP, you know, without doing years of work behind that, right? So like, I think it's too early for a lot of them, but you can look at different examples like Pudgy Penguins. They're delivering on a roadmap and a vision with real products right now.
They have a real product that launched that did well. I think that is a great example. Yeah.
You could argue Doodles, you know, what their execution hasn't been really good. But they are delivering products. They are delivering different experiences. They've had some really quality IRL events as well. You could even look at Cool Cats. Cool Cats kind of has fucked up executionally too, but they've delivered a lot of different things. I think there are examples. It's just like how many of them have been as good as expected or really followed through, other than maybe like a Yuga. There's not that many, to your point. And also I think, again, like a lot of the IP just hasn't been that good. The IP is one of the core values or promises of NFTs, and if it's just not there, it's not there. And that's the unfortunate truth that, you know, you're discovering with a lot of these things, is that most of the IP sucks.
We were just having this conversation at GM Web3 saying the best thing that you could possibly do as an NFT project right now is not launch a product. Because what eventually happens is people get tired of it very quickly and they want something else. And so what Yuga's been able to do is, even when they put out their roadmap, they don't talk about it. They don't lay out the details. They allow the community to figure out, hey, what's happening after the Jimmy the Ape scenario, or like the Dookie Dash scenario. Like, there's no even names thrown out. So I would argue that Yuga never set an expectation, and therefore that's why they've been pretty successful. There's obviously a bunch of other reasons why they're successful, but they don't have an end to this.
Yes, and they actually, like, when they actually roll out the product, the experience, whatever it is, it's super high quality and like a good experience. So to me, that is the expectation. So while they have not been going out and explicitly promising anything, and so in that regard, yeah, they're not like out here making a bunch of promises and setting expectations that way. They've set a bar for the execution very high, and so people just assume
they've
and
messed
expect
up.
that it'll be good quality.
I would call out the other Deeds launch. I would call out some of the merchandise they've launched.
Okay, maybe some of the merch hasn't been as popular, but overall, most of their merch has been fire.
That second merch drop makes me so angry.
Yeah.
But I think, to your point, like, I do think like one of the things that they got right was from that clip that you played earlier. Like, they allow you to speculate, and they allow you to, like, you know, they under promise and they over deliver. And as somebody who has spent, you know, 2 decades in customer service, like that is how you win over a customer fan base, right? Like, you don't go out there and say, we're going to do all these crazy things, and then like only do 3 out of the 4 of them, or, you know, not achieve any of them, or do them and all of them be shitty experiences. You just shut your mouth and you get to work and you create cool, you know, engaging experiences that people, you know, can look forward to what you're going to do next, right? So
Easy and Crypto saying feels like a momentary hype thing. Peeps looking for anything to be excited about. Choni saying, I actually like the boring punks art, but agreed, I doubt they have legs. Marty's calling the death in 48 hours call, which is a little.
It might have more legs than that. You know, a lot of times when these CryptoPunks derivatives do catch on, they have, you know, maybe a couple weeks or something. But to the point that right now, a lot of people are just looking for anything to get in and get a quick win. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns very, very quickly. So just be careful. And you know what? It's always good to remind everybody that nothing we talk about here is financial advice. All the information was found publicly on the internet. Everything we talk about is solely the opinions of the Web3 team. Always do your own research. Just picked up a ton of strawberries. Really?
I picked a ton IRL. Yeah, he picked a ton IRL.
Yeah, he picked.
Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about the Jared Strawberries project. I was like, oh, okay. Is that gonna make a comeback?
NFTs too long.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some other topics to hit on today. We're gonna go for probably another hour, folks. So we appreciate you tuning in early. We just pressed live about 20 minutes ago. This is around the same topic that we're having, right? Beeple's putting out this tweet saying, if people view your project as purely a digital asset to be traded for financial gain, then in that context, choosing not to pay royalties makes sense when that is the norm of other asset classes. it is competing against. However, if you're interested in retaining royalties, I think you will need to convince people to view your project as art, where there is more of a precedence for patronage. And he shares a chart here where weekly royalties have fallen to, like, I believe, like, I think that's an all-time low. If it's not, it isn't. But here's what I take from this Beeple piece as well. Like, the communities that are built on vibes, like if I hear that from a community built on vibes, like, I am watching the daily chart or the hourly chart like a hawk, because I'm trying to flip this shit in a very quick amount of time. Because what happens is exactly this: the people aren't there for the vibes. They're selling you on a token that they want to trade hands with, that they can get out on at a later date when that happens. It just is. And there's outliers. You're about to share Chungos. I see it. There's outliers. First of all, Chungos is one that has not fared well over time. I don't know what the community looks like
Too
now.
early to tell, Q. Too early to say.
That's what everybody says, man.
We're still early, fam. Yo, you got to turn on the sound with this.
Oh God, do I want to?
Yeah.
Gipit's been on a run these days of sharing some links that
But
I'm
there's
like,
but there's some projects like that like, you know, we jump into that we like genuinely think like are gonna do cool stuff, and they do like some really cool stuff, and they still are in the shitter right now. Like, that's just like the market we're in, right? Like, what's the other, Based Heads? Like, that's a cool project. They're still doing really cool stuff. They put out great content on Twitter and like stuff, and yet
we should check in on them. They've put out some recent videos that we haven't checked in on a while too.
So I'll share that. If you want to drop a link, I will pull that up. I've got the Chungos piece, but Ronan, we were talking about the Fewocious drop yesterday that is ongoing with Adidas, and got a whole bunch of hot takes. DP was one of them, actually, that was giving some hot takes, and he's repeating it here a little bit. He's saying, I have yet to see any really dope merch come from this space, partly because the people delivering merch never had style in the first place. Now, I don't think this is like directed at Fewo, but what was your take on that drop? And then maybe before we get to that, what do you think about that comment from DP? Is merch in this space like kind of whack?
Yeah, I think there's very few that get merch right. You know what I mean? Like the design aesthetic and like actually like, you know, stuff that people want to buy and it fits well. Like, you know, you said like the shit fits right. And honestly, I don't know if there's that many that care or just see that as another opportunity to like, you know, monetize. As far as like the Fewo thing, I honestly like don't know like what were the mechanics, because I don't know the way I took it, and honestly, I didn't look into it because, hey, it's a bear market. I'm not buying any fucking sneakers right now.
For point two.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was gonna say. Was it like an ETH thing, or was it just, I don't know. I looked at it and I assumed you could click the link and anybody could go buy themselves a pair of like $200 like sneakers or some shit. You know?
No.
It was like a drop in NFT.
List.
Like and it was an allow list.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, F that, dude. You know,
but that's what she's trying to do. What he's trying to do is probably figure out utility, right? Utility for the
did who got into the allow list?
I could pull it up here.
Paint holders,
but certain paint holders. There was a trefoil flower mint. Yeah, let me get this for you real quick.
I wish I would have known that it was that it was like that it was a tiered list thing.
All right, so alts by Adidas NFTs with Souls, Fewocious, and Fewo World paint drops, and then allow list tier 2, all alts by Adidas, all Fewocious NFT holders.
Gotcha.
And then he has tier 3
radio,
here.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No public sale.
Okay. Oh, this is all on this 22nd of June. So this actually hasn't happened yet.
No.
In my opinion, you're probably going to buy those, and as soon as it goes on public sale, the price is going to drop.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happened with the last Nike one, right? The Artifact ones. Like people bought those and then like the price dropped when it went public because like nobody actually wanted to spend that much money for these fucking shoes.
We should also follow up on Nike's Air Force One, because I actually think that they revealed tomorrow, and they've been sharing some cool previews of the art.
Yeah, I actually put in chat. I didn't hit enter .swoosh because I wanted to talk about it. Yeah, reveal is tomorrow, so you'll be able to like go to like your .swoosh account and open your box and then reveal like what sneakers you got in it. And what they've been sharing on Twitter is that they have hidden some pretty like super rare versions of sneakers in these boxes. So like I think the all white Air Force Ones, it's a 1-on-1. So like only one person will pull an all white pair of like AF1s. And then like I saw one yesterday, it was only like a run of 261. That was really fucking sick. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I haven't had a reveal in a while, and I picked up, I think like 3 or 4 of those, maybe 5 of the .swoosh. Yeah, they're pretty sick, dude. Like that. That's only, look, I love it. 1337. Okay. Honestly, that's a pair that I would be super happy with, man. That's fucking fire. I love that. But I just, what I really like about like what Nike is doing is that it's on brand. And they really have looked to make the onboarding process as seamless as possible so they can onboard as many people as possible through this. You know what I mean? I know they had something like 100,000 of each box and they didn't sell out of them. But I do think they did a ridiculously like 60 or 70,000 of each at least. So, at $20 a pop, that's a decent influx of cash. And it's a drop that makes sense. It was $20, man. Like, why not jump in, see what you get? And who knows what comes next, right? They haven't said much about like what comes with owning an Air Force One, but like they have said that there are going to be perks. So we'll see what happens.
All right, I'm sharing out a couple links here as well. I didn't get into the Air Force One here dropped by .swoosh, but it's been interesting to follow along with you guys. I went to Garga's Twitter here because we got a comment here that Yuga retired, it's all new peeps, Goner left. And Marty's also saying Ronan's being realistic, and I love it. And I think there's been an element of that you get, again, with the market that we're in. We keep referencing that, but Garga's still around. Like that's the piece that I really, wanted to figure out because I don't really like frequent his Twitter every week, but I see him coming across my timeline. So he's still over here continuously working. For all intents and purposes, he's at Yuga. He's a co-founder. So I want to push back a little bit against that. I think also I was one of like the staunch, how can I say this, realist when it came to losing Gordon. Like I was really upset when Gordon said he had to leave, and he claimed it was for medical purposes. And again, that he needs to do that. If that is a situation that he's dealing with, he needs to step back from the company. So I push back a little bit against the fact that Yuga is not Yuga anymore because Garg is still around. Now, if Garga was gone, that would definitely make me feel a certain type of way about what's going on.
I agree with all that, but I also want to paint or provide like another perspective here. And that's that a lot of times the teams that it takes to put together a big idea and launch that idea is not the same team that you need to take it to that next level. And we've seen this now across the board with several different projects that had incredible launches. Everybody was so amped up. They got this massive community, all this support, huge success, and then they fail to execute on the next steps to keep growing it or maintain the momentum or actually execute on parts of their roadmaps and ideas and scale a company, like build a real company. So I'll point to examples. Both Moonbirds and Doodles and Oniforce. These are all examples of massive top NFT projects that had tremendous launches. The team did a great job getting it off the ground, but then has not yet at least, figured out how to actually turn that into a sustainable business model. Oniforce was able to transition to another team. Yuga has been successfully onboarding some of the top talent from the gaming industry to start to take it over and help shepherd it into that next phase and scale it to that next level. I think it's actually tremendously bullish that they have a plan in place that they're executing to bring in the top talent from the gaming industry to come and help scale them into into a Web3 business, like the biggest Web3 conglomerate in the world. So if you don't see it as bullish that they're able to attract the CTO from Activision Blizzard, which is literally the biggest global gaming publisher there is, like it is the biggest gaming publisher in the world. If you don't think it's bullish that they're able to bring that type of person on as their CEO to help them build, like, I just think that you're not understanding what's happening. So anyway, I'm just trying to say that I actually think it's more bullish to have a transition plan that you can bring in top talent to help you scale and build out a sustainable business model than to just think that, you know, these big idea young founders who are innovators who launched it are the right people to actually build out the business.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like, you know, having been in that startup during, you know, when things were really pumping and Web3 was blowing up, and seeing how, you know, the company grew and grew massively so fast. We went from, like, I think I was employee 7 or 8 to 34, 35 employees in a matter of like 12 months. That's a lot. And like, when you see that type of like scale, and you see the people who like launched and started that idea, like, you realize that like that is one skill set, and then growing is a different skill set. You know, I think that it would be nice to have a little more clarity and understanding of what the role of Gordon, right, like, is at this point, like, you know, and the rest of the team. So we just kind of understand that, and for, you know, visibility's sake. But I am with GIF. Like, I also feel like, hey man, like, if I would have launched a PFP project, I would not have ever in a million years expected to 6 months later have an opportunity to run $1 billion brand. What kind of pressure does that put someone under? How do you deal with it? And then how do you make sure you don't fucking, you know, fumble the bag? And that's hard, you know? So kudos to them for being able to get to where they got it. I do think that, like, you can only do so much to a certain point, and you do have to, like, allow other people to take over in certain aspects. But if we talked about, like, you know, Gordon and Garga were the ones who were coming up with, you know, the core creative ideas and stuff, right? So are they still being creative? Are they still helping shape, like, where the project goes and what projects they accept and not? Then I'm good with someone else being a CEO and someone else doing the day-to-day shit that needs to be done to make sure that the brand is, like, what it could be.
Yeah, I realized there was 4 individuals on, like, some sort of executive team when this first got launched, but the primary, if you listen to the Metaverse podcast, like, you understand, like, Gordon and Gargo are who were the guys that founded, who was the second guy that founded Facebook? Savrin. Like, having Mark Zuckerberg and Savrin, like, those were the 2 guys that originally founded Facebook. And it might not be the best example, but when I look at a team, I'm looking at the guys that are actually, you know, in this scenario, pushing the IP forward, and it coming from their experiences, just from their life. That's what they put down on paper and brought to life. That was Gordon and Garga for me. So I understand there were other individuals on the executive team, but I don't really submit to the idea that 75% of the team is gone, because really it's just it's 50% in my mind. Like, it sucks to say that Gordon's gone, but that shit does happen. So Garga's still there, but
yeah. And I mean, I gotta push back on Marty a little bit here. Just because you have money does not mean you can hire anybody. Yes, there's a lot of people that will just, you know, whore themselves out for a paycheck. But again, if you're talking about literally the leaders of the biggest gaming publishers in the world, these people are serious professionals, dude. They're not gonna just throw away their entire life's work and their reputations when they could go work at any other job. Like this guy has offers for tons of money from well-respected brands. You know what I mean? It's so to just think that like he would choose to go take on this role for a startup Web3 company just to get some money when he could go be a high profile C-suite executive at any other big company that would throw money at him too. Maybe even have not only a lot more prestige, but also better benefits and a bunch of other cool things associated with it. Dude, if you go work in Silicon Valley at any of these big giant companies, dude, the benefits that you get are fucking sick, bro. So it's like this guy's giving up a lot to actually do this. And so to just pretend that he's just pimping himself out for a paycheck when he's literally like one of the highest, like most respected, most important positions in all of the global gaming industry, which is like $1 trillion business. The guy's got money, dude. Like,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I get, especially like when the Yuga combos happen on this network. Like, it's not just Marty. Like, we definitely have people on both sides of the aisle. But let's make sure we stay a little bit objective, because I hate when it teeters too much one way or the other. It kind of gets annoying.
Yeah, I think, you know, to the point though, like there's still business to be run. Like, hey, are they doing it? Is it happening? Like, is it being run in a way that's like positive for like the community and for like the project as a whole? I think that's like where we should be like really like measuring, the situation and the project, and for all of them, right? Like everyone who's involved, not just like Yuga. I think that they all kind of should have that sort of stand up. It's just like, to Marty's point, like something like cyber brokers, right? They had a great launch, and then they sat down and they've done nothing but just put in the work of what they said they were going to do for the last year and a half, despite the fact that like, the space is where it is because they believe in their IP. They have been telling, doing the storytelling thing, and continue to grow that. And I think that like, if a team is still doing that right now through this market, they deserve to be commended for doing it.
All right, we're gonna stay on a little bit of Yuga here. Well, I guess maybe not Yuga. It's ApeCoin DAO. Yuga has distanced itself, obviously, for regulatory reasons, from saying that they control ApeCoin. The ApeCoin Special Council election is one of the most important elections in Web3. We've been talking about this for a little while, saying that ApeCoin and that DAO has been one of the largest. I think MakerDAO is another one. I'm trying to really off the top of my head. I mean, we have familiarity with Aavegotchi DAO. There's a lot of really cool fucking DAOs in this space, but this feels like the first time that ApeCoin DAO's taken center stage and like been on the minds of a lot of people in the NFT space. And some people probably didn't even know it existed. Obviously, for negative reasons, it's come into light that the special counsel is receiving $200K pretty much yearly salary for essentially a part-time job. And that was kind of the debate thrown out there was, hey, is $20K a month really necessary for the job that they're doing? The special counsel essentially pushed back and said, they're actually doing a lot. We shouldn't be compared to like average salaries here. So it was all across the board. Here are the actual members that won. I believe Alexis Ohanian and Yatsu are the second, or I believe like the secondary nominations that aren't on this list. So Bored Ape G, Vera the Ape, Jerry, and Degentraland were the winners, as well as Yatsu and Alexis Ohanian. So that's to say all of this is leading up to an ApeCoin Special Council election on the 22nd. So that election period will run till the 26th, and everyone is wondering, who is going to make it onto the Special Council. Obviously, everybody's pitching themselves. So that's kind of where we stand today. I don't know, Ronan, if you have any takes. We've been breaking down that $20K a month story. I don't know if you've caught in wind of it and if you had any thoughts there. And Easy and Crypto saying, I'll do it for $20K a month.
What exactly?
Man, I think that it is completely within anyone who holds ApeCoin's right to like question that dollar amount. That is a $200,000 is a fucking really nice salary. And I don't know if you're doing that much work. Like, I don't know. There's a lot to be said, I guess, for like, are you bringing the value too? Like, are you bringing $20,000 worth of value to the project every month?
Yeah, I think the problem is that nobody can really fully justify it at this point. And like they're saying, oh, we do a lot, we do this and that, and like, yes, somebody like Yatsu adds prestige, and having this really high bar not only attracts top talent, but again, like I've said, it sets this perception of this being a super important council, because you're literally like you can compare yourself now to a top board for like a global company, but yeah, I think it's too much at this point, because there's not enough to justify it.
I mean, is Yatsu being like a special council member getting paid that? Because do you think he's putting in $20,000? He's getting paid that?
That's the point.
Do you think he's got time for that shit?
No.
Hell no. That is not his primary.
So
he can still bring a lot of value.
Listen, it's tough because it's like
connections and the business he's grown, but like
that's where I'm saying like it's not necessarily just time, right? That is required.
The value you bring to the project
in 100%. That time. And so I think Yacht does have the notoriety. He's doing work in Hong Kong, Asia. Like these are all, and at very high levels. He's not like your typical kind of like, I'm a startup founder. He's at a very high level with his networking. I think potentially could recuperate that value. So it's just tough because we don't have any clarity on what that is. Okay, so
Marty's saying Alex just bought that Fidenza for 130 ETH. Fidenzas keep selling even in the worst winter bear market of NFTs that's ever happened, because it's the first one. Fidenzas keep selling for 200, 300, 400,000. There was one that sold for 1.2 mil or something recently. So that's a bright spot to shout out, that just like the market for digital art, like digital art assets, is not going away. To me, that's like, it just screams the fact that like, digital art as assets are here, and it's not going away.
Yeah.
I've got a comment from Squashman here. Everyone's concerns and objections have all been discussed, and now people want KPIs and audits on the work they're actually doing to justify pay, time, and effort. Squash, if you can drop that link there. You talked about Leap Space. I can definitely bring that up here on the Twitter chat as well and talk about that. So essentially where we're at today is I think everyone has generally the same concern, and now we're moving forward and saying, let's get us some clear KPIs. And that's where we're at.
Sure.
It's an interesting point, though, that he's bringing in about legal risk and how do you factor risk into compensation? Because like there's a lot of jobs that men, people complain that men get paid more for, but it's because they're highly risky, like jobs that you can lose hands, lose arms, lose your life. And so that is something that is often factored into remuneration, is like a level of risk that you assume by taking on this position. So is there increased legal scrutiny and legal risk for the people that sit on this council? Is that even true? Like if it is, maybe that adds a certain percentage. I don't know. It feels like a justification that I don't know if there's actually evidence for, but like maybe there is.
Yeah. The consensus is it's very much there's too much gray area here. And I think that's what they're going to be working on. One, with the next council. I'm not sure about this council, how that will shake out.
Because Yacht's basically saying, pay for my hypothetical legal fees.
True.
What's up, Ron?
I got jumped for a meeting here. I just realized this too. But to close it out, man, I do think that's what should happen next. KPI should be put in place. There should be some transparency there. I do agree with Squash or Marty. Alex O is just buddies with Guy O, which is like the first, like when you said the Yatsu and the Alex O thing, I'm like, what did they actually done though? Right. Like, and so that's questionable. Outside of that, man, I do think that, it's an interesting interesting time, and it's definitely been fun with you guys today. I appreciate it, and look forward to chatting again next week.
Go play
Smash the
pickleball,
like.
man.
Yeah, smash
Shit, I
the
got a
like
lot
for
of work to do
Ronan.
this afternoon, but I appreciate you. All right, later, guys.
Peace.
Big
Gif,
love for Ronan.
hit that again. I know he was leaving.
I was just saying smash the like for Ronan coming through. It's always a good time. And we appreciate it when you do, fam. Really makes a difference getting all of this awesome content that we're showing up every day to create out there to more people. And we can always use the help, especially in this market. You know what? I had a... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
DP saying yacht is spray and pray poppy, which is definitely funny. They definitely do take a spray and pray approach at Animoca Brands, but they spread their liquidity very wide in the best of ways. I think there have been some projects that really have taken off a fair amount. I don't think they've had that one breakthrough game, but they support a lot of the infrastructure. They grease the wheels, if you will, especially in the gaming sector. Guy O is the real boss of Yuga. That's not the worst take ever. Does Yacht even live in the USA? I believe he is a dual citizen. So he is based in Hong Kong, but he is he's traveling a bunch. I've seen him on Zoom calls while he's traveling in the US and yada, yada, yada. So I only have my experience with Yacht and not the other people on that council, which is why I'm up here talking about him so much, because I think that an individual like that is worth $20K a month. I don't think he's spending a full time, on this position. So if that's your major argument, then maybe you can fling that against him. But he's still worth that amount if he can pull off what he can do with his reach, which is he can work on getting ApeCoin in Hong Kong. Like he is literally at that level. He is talking. I guarantee he has sat with regulators in Hong Kong. Like that is the guy we're talking about. So if he can work on getting ApeCoin into exchanges in Hong Kong, is that worth $20K a month? It's just
it could be, but again, until we actually know that anything like that's being done, it's hard to
very true
value it that way. I had first of all, masked mage over here is asking you, Master Q, do you believe regulations will help crypto in the long run? After all, so many scams and rugs around make people not want to get involved. So I don't know, Q, Master Q, what do you think?
Do you believe regulation will help crypto in the long run? I think innovation always outpaces regulation. I think that there will be something that does not exist now that continues to be kind of developed. And NFTs are one of those things. It's going to take a long time for regulation to get to NFTs, right? So we've seen regulation be very slow to the point where they're still on Ripple. Like they're just kind of like not even washing their hands on the Ripple case. That was 7 years ago. So this regulation takes a long time. I generally think that it's been an overreaction by the market to the SEC saying things that they can't back up. That's where I lean. These things are going to take years and years and years to figure out. Within that time, we have an election cycle next year for the U.S. That I think will be a paradigm shift for our country. I think our country is going to go red. I think that we're going to get a new SEC chair in there. And I think we're gonna, be pretty bullish on that side. But I lean bullish. That's the problem. Like I loved what a dude in our spaces was saying earlier this morning is that the narrative shift a little bit each time. The stories switch, the characters switch, but the main arc of this entire space is that we go forward, and we generally do really well cycle to cycle. We've taken a stair up from cycle to cycle. Again, characters change. It was ICOs back then. It was funding rounds. It was big blockchains. Then it was NFTs. This all looks different each time, but generally it stares up in one direction.
So far. But like what you're talking about is what Raoul Pal calls the exponential age, I believe. Or like the age of exponential technology. I forget exactly what he calls it, but that's we're in this channel of exponential adoption of technology that like you can't like no matter which way you look at it, if you zoom out, like the tech just keeps speeding up and getting more advanced, and there's more people adopting it and all of that, right? And so, yeah, man, the exponential age, we're in it. I agree with all that. I do though think that like at some point you have to have some kind of regulatory clarity, which is what a lot of this is happening. A lot of what's happening right now. And I don't know if you wanted to bring up that clip from Emmer or not, but what I can say is cool about it. You know, you were referencing NFTs being even harder or further out for NFTs to be actually regulated. One of the many things that Tom Emmer says in this recent committee hearing is he vehemently pushes back on the idea that tokens themselves are securities. Like he says, like maybe a contract, like maybe there is a securities contract, or at the contract level, you could be a security, but tokens themselves and the assets themselves are absolutely not securities. So that was one of the cool things. Sorry, what was this? You're pulling up some breaking news about rate hikes. What's going on?
Extremely bullish news in the short term. Federal Reserve pauses interest rate hikes, remains at 5.2 to 5%. That's very bullish on the market side. Obviously, they've been increasing interest rates for a little while now. So the fact that they're pausing it is relatively big news. Obviously, that's kind of on the macro side, like outside of the crypto industry.
But it all impacts us. Like we're still very much tied to the traditional financial world and financial markets. But I think maybe this is in response to the fact that I've been seeing in the last week or so them reporting that inflation has been cut in half in the last like year or so. So basically, we're down 50%. Inflation is down 50%. So,
yeah. So some of that is going to like bleed into our markets, like you're saying. Super interesting to see. How the market on the short term. If you're trading that in short term time frames, that's going to be bullish. I could pull up the charts here in the next hour, and it's probably going to react favorably. Last piece on this question, right? Do you believe regulations will help crypto in the long run? In totality or in general, what do those regulations look like? Are they positive regulations, or are they extremely negative and heavy-handed regulations? I think that has to go into your answer as well. If we get the Gensler, like if he could wave his wand and do whatever to crypto that he's potentially wanting to do, that's extremely negative in the very short term and for the immediate, I would say next 5 years. Bad. But if the regulations are favorable, and we see Tom Emmer here in a second, that's extremely good for us.
Well, and one of the key takeaways from Tom Emmer's speech is that crypto is going to proliferate with or without the US. And so that's also an important an important piece of this, is that regulation might slow it down in the US, but like crypto actually doesn't care about what you do here in the US. It's going to keep going. So yeah, it might be a couple steps back just for the US, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be lots of opportunities elsewhere.
Okay, Choina, we're going to get to your comment on the Aavegotchi DAO, because we've had we've been really close to the Aavegotchi DAO. We've actually been able to throw one of Aavegotchi's first kind of, they participated in one of their first get-togethers as a community at ETH Denver, there at the Marijuana Mansion. So that was a really cool Web3 event that we were able to put on. Gifted, shout out to you for making that happen, man. Okay, Massmaker saying thanks for the feedback. We got a bunch of different political comments here, and I believe Marty just said it's going to be Trump versus Michelle Obama in 2024. Are we on the Michelle?
Bold predictions only.
Jax, how do we? Go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe that it kind of is seeming like Gavin Newsom might be preparing.
Is that what you're?
I'm just saying he's done. He's at least established himself as a reasonably good administrator and reasonably popular out here in California, and he's starting to ramp up his PR. So I'm not going to be surprised if Gavin Newsom enters. But anyway, yeah, I
Okay.
don't want to go that much
Yeah.
further down speculating around the 2024 election.
We shall see. Prodigy's asking for Candace Owens here. We have been crabbing out here for the last 3 or 4 days after that wild last week there to start June. We'll see where we go from here. I think, again, Fed cutting interest rates usually is going to react positively in the stock market unless that was somehow already priced in. But usually we see some good pieces of crypto price movement after the Fed comes out and says things like this. We'll get to some of your comments here in a second. Let's get into Emmer. What part of the episode do we want to, or clip do we want to watch?
Honestly, it's pretty good all the way through. So you could either just start at the beginning or just jump in the middle somewhere and just let it run for a minute or two. But I think the beginning is pretty solid. Well, actually, you jump forward like 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a product of joint crafted thoughtfully and intelligently. I want to commend Chairman
This
McKenna,
video is bad on my side as well. I don't think it's
Chairman Thompson of the
video is bad.
Agriculture Committee, and both of their teams for all their hard work. Crypto will thrive with or without the United States. What we seek to do today in discussing this draft is to establish if the next iteration of the internet is going to be designed by Americans and for Americans, or if it's going to emulate the values of some other country. It must be the former, not the latter. American digital asset innovators and entrepreneurs desperately need regulatory clarity, regulatory certainty, regulatory confidence, and regulatory competitiveness, the 4 C's. Instead, as a product of Congress succeeding its power to the administrative state since the mid-90s, this administration has been able to abuse its regulatory power toward the digital asset ecosystem to the detriment of the American people.
Amen, sir.
Dude, I love this shit so much because it's so refreshing to see somebody up there like pushing back and talking common sense and actually really fucking getting it. Like he gets the tech. Like he calls it the next iteration of the internet. He understands what Web3 is. He understands this is internet technology that is evolving in real time. Does the US want to be part of that? Do we want to be part of the future of basically the whole world of everything, the whole fucking internet, all of the finance, all of the, you know, the transactions, everything that comes along with the internet, the creativity, the innovation, the tech, all of it. He understands this is the future of the internet, guys. Should the US be part of that? What do you think?
I would be interested to see who's funding this guy as well, because obviously lobbying works on both sides. I would love to see the groups that are backing Tom Emmer.
And advising him, because whoever's advising him is doing a good job.
SEC chair who flip-flops before Congress, telling us last year that he needs legislation to regulate the digital asset industry, and telling us this year that he has changed his mind. He actually does have the authority in his own mind, the statutory authority to regulate this space. I would disagree. But obviously, this sends mixed signals. The SEC and the CFTC, the two potential primary regulators, are constantly at odds on what digital assets are commodities or securities. This sends, again, mixed signals to stakeholders. This administration weaponized the recent bank crisis to debank the digital asset community.
That is one story that goes under the radar with a majority of the population. They used that fear tactic when it came to, I believe, SVB Bank, right? SVB Bank went under, and then they called it a crypto bank, and then they stopped people from actually custodying funds there.
But even as far as FTX is concerned, that was a centralized situation that they painted as this is the downfall of crypto and decentralization. And they didn't protect us from that, yet, you know, they were so in bed with SBF too on all of that. But again, the FTX situation has absolutely been used as part of the reason why, we need to cut down on crypto or take strong action against the crypto industry. Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, this guy is absolutely calling out Gensler, taking him to task here, saying y'all are fucking not only overstepping, but you're manipulating this whole situation. and weaponizing the bank failures. It's fucking great.
Deploying an Operation Choke Point style assault on this legal industry. We have enforcement actions almost every week alleging different tokens are securities or different actions fall under SEC jurisdiction. Yet the SEC has failed to produce a single rule or regulation to help the unique digital asset industry come into compliance. A failure of the administrative state. Congress needs to step into the driver's seat and pass a bill that provides regulatory clarity, certainty, confidence, and competitiveness. I believe the McHenry-Thompson bill can get us there. It sets up a dual registration framework that allows projects to crowdfund and gives tokens a mechanism to move from issuance to decentralization.
I love this take by DP because it reminds me a little bit of the Reddit situation with Wall Street banks and where the little guy in that small micro environment won over on big banks. He's saying, well, the problem is that we front ran the government / banking institutions on the future of finance and tech for the first time in modern history, and they don't understand how to get a handle on it.
However, the way it is currently drafted conflicts philosophically with how I consider this asset class. Fundamentally, I don't believe digital assets themselves are ever securities. Instead, I believe digital assets can be obtained through a securities contract. The distinction between investment contract and the asset of the investment contract underpins my 8 years of legislative work in this space, and it's a basis of my bill, the Securities Clarity Act, which I was fortunate to have Mr. Thompson on as a co-sponsor last Congress. Primarily,
that is the if I hop in whenever, but that's the take to me that is most technically going to be the hurdle that we need to accomplish or get over, right? Is that the assets that we buy, sell, and trade or custody right now look fundamentally different than the securities assets that are traded on the stock exchange. Even though they can be traded like securities, they can also do something else. And yet there's been no laws that have reflected that reality.
This is new technology. I mean, how old are the laws? I think in that Coinbase video, they said, you know, the laws that they're holding us to under the SEC were written in like 1924 or some shit like that. Our systems are horribly outdated. Our Congress, they're outdated. They're old. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They haven't done shit. We need innovative new solutions for innovative new technologies. Anyway, Tom Emmer is one of the biggest, he's going to come out one of the biggest winners of this whole fucking situation because he's playing this thing so smart. He's branding himself as the pro crypto, pro business, pro innovation dude. How many representatives in our entire Congress do I know the names of right now? It's like 10. Like I could maybe name 10, and Tom Emmer is now in them. You know what I mean? I talk more about this guy than any other fucking representative because I ignore them all. So anyway, this guy, yeah, whoever's backing him, whoever is his lobbyists are, whoever's advising him, whatever, he's making a meal out of this shit.
Squash is saying this has been an argument for years within the crypto space, but now we have a congressman vocalizing that position. Mike Finch is calling the bottom here, not financial advice, and I think we need to hit that disclaimer here in just a second. But he's saying this is the part where you call the Fed's bluff, in my opinion, and he's referencing that the basically the crypto prices we're seeing right now could, off the Fed interest rate hike pause, which usually means number go up in the stock market and in general. That this is the point where we call the Fed's bluff, where we're going to see crypto prices increase and we're going to move into Valhalla. No, I'm just kidding. Just moving upwards would be good enough for a lot of us. But yeah, Mike Finch there calling the bottom on the SEC here, as well as maybe he's even calling out the Fed, the Federal Reserve there. Have you heard of Hunter Biden? No, who's that?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
I want to hit the NFT Go Bag Check as well, but I've got 3 clips that I need to play. So we have Choina here talking about the Aavegotchi DAO. Well, Aavegotchi along the same lines of Polygon 2.0, which we haven't even covered. Main topic, haven't covered. Great. I'm buying into GIF's narrative here. But we have Polygon, or I'm sorry, Avagachi saying devs told me to take the Polygon 2.0 video and stick a gotchi in it, but why? We'll report back when I know more. So this is a clip from Avagachi. Let's dive in. All right, I want to know more, which is a good thing. Good job, Avagachi.
I do too. I mean, I know that they've been talking about the, like, is it a super net? Like, they're going to have some additional network on Polygon and support that allows them to, you know, supercharge the like gaming transactions or something. Maybe that's like part of what this is referring to. Like Polygon 2.0 is going to support those upgrades. I don't know. Definitely excited to learn more. And look, this is the type of like high profile partnership support that Avagachi is going to be getting and should be getting, and attention that they deserve, right? So this is, again, why I got 3 gotchis now. I'm very bullish on it. Not financial advice, but...
So Wild Web Pod came out today with Harry Liu. I interviewed Henry the Great from CyberKongs. One of the main questions I asked him was, hey, across the space, what projects interest you? And he gave me a one project answer. It was Avagachi. So Harry Liu,
really?
That episode came out, and CyberKongs is there as well.
All right. I
We
might
just
have
passed.
to go listen to the Wild Wild Web to get more context on why he's so bullish, and I can add that to my context.
We passed 500 listens on the Wild Wild Web Pod, which is awesome. I mean, thank you guys so much for supporting it up to this point, man. I'm excited to continue that.
Yeah, Gotchi Chain. He calls it SuperNet.
Okay, Prodigy's hitting some Chungo news. So that actually, I don't know if you have a camera in my house, but that was the link that we were going to touch on next. We have the Chungolution with audio. So am I going to regret this? Maybe.
For the people in the back.
Nice. The Chungos are always going somewhere in any of these animations.
Never a dull day as a Chungo. I mean, what else do you need to know? Chungolution G20.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
How can you? That's been really my whole thing with Chungos all along, is that it's just fun. It's silly. The art's dumb, but in kind of an endearing way. How can you hate it? It's great. I love it.
I'm going to pull up Chungos real quick. Let's see.
Cheech and Chungo?
Oh, Chungos are up 23% on the day. GIF?
No way.
Do it.
Get out of here. I didn't actually believe it would pop off like that.
Yeah, we got some buys
Okay,
here.
all right.
5 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard. All right.
Those degens be degening.
While we're on the topic of being on NFT Go to check out Chungos, let's stay on the platform. We got the NFT Go Bag Check. Thank you, NFT Go, for being the sponsor on this month's episodes of NFT Live and GM Web3. We'll figure out the wild web situation, I promise, on the next go around. But let's get into the NFT Go Bag Check. We use NFT Go for all of our analytics and data tracking across the space, and we're going to do so now with you on the NFT Go Bag Check. 37 on market sentiment. I'm not even touching that 30-day loss.
That's warm.
I know. I don't
compared. Wait, compared to where we've been, this is feeling like a summer breeze.
Tell me how the kitchen works with this. I want to see behind the curtain with how the market sentiment works. Blue chip index is down over the last 7 days. USD even worse. Market cap, we got a surge in volume here overnight. I always love to figure out what's going on here. There has been a Bored Ape buyer / lender on Blend and Blur for the last, I believe, week or two. So I don't know if that's driving up volume, but if anybody knows what this blue, and I'm not going to say it, but this blue, damn it, this blue line, let's just go with that. That's the family-friendly version. Yeah, let's do candle. That's another family-friendly version. Market cap is down over the last 7 days against ETH and USD. And then actually, we haven't checked talk a little. Okay, I'm gone. Bye. Dead.
Adios. Okay.
All right, I'm back. Let's go get the category market cap here against ETH, maybe against USD. It probably looks about the same. On the category of market cap, PFPs are number 1. Collectibles are 2. It looks like gaming and art and utility are pretty much 3, 4, 5. Then you got metaverse and then land as the total market cap. Interesting to see the volume here. I wonder if land doesn't fall off a cliff on the volume side. I know the market cap's there. All right. Yeah, looks like it did. So PFPs are obviously the majority traded, utility being 2. It looks like art is 3rd, collectibles 4th, and land and gaming are 5th. Liquidity. What do we mean by liquidity here? Like amount traded? That's volume. I need to see this. What do we think liquidity means here with collectibles? Is that the amount?
I think that has to do with offers. How many people are making offers? So like for instance on Blur, you can actually see like there's 300 ETH worth of bids.
Got it. Okay.
So that's basically like you could just unload into that project going all the way down through those offers up to a certain amount, right?
Gotcha.
That's the liquidity.
I appreciate you helping me out, Gifted.
Of course, I got you, big guy.
All right, 7 days here on the volume as well as they've got a handy dandy. All right, anyways, volume over 24 hours. Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, Mutants, Boring Punks in the top 4. Azuki, DeGods, Potatoes, Captains, Kennels, and Other Deeds making an appearance on the top 10.
Speaking of the Boring Punks again, you're gonna absolutely love what I just found trending number 1 on OpenSea. Might even be number 1 on NFT Go if we went and looked at what's trending right now. But guess what's trending? Number 1 on OpenSea right now, Nifty Q. That's right. I know you love it here, fam. A derivative of a derivative. You gotta have the Pepe Boring Punks, Q. If you've got a Boring Punk, fam, you need to have the Pepe version of the Boring Punk.
It's just a Pepe version of everything. Just Pepe the world at this point.
Who are the people? Who are the Pepe people that just have a studio churning out a Pepe version of every single project that pops off? They're probably killing it. No, they probably are multi-zillionaires, bro. What are we doing trying to build, a quality media company covering all of this, Q? Can we just build a fucking studio making Pepe derivatives already?
We can do Biao Studios.
God.
Biao Studio. I've already got the name. We'll see if we can trademark it. All right, well, we got to go, guys.
You think-
we will see you on next week's episode of NFT Live, or maybe not.
Do you think that the proper way to say Biao is like a cat?
I'd like to think so. Biao. Biao.
Biao.
How do you say Biao? I'm gonna look this up.
Like Nian cat, Nian.
How to pronounce Biao? Okay. Biao in Chinese. Here we go. I love the internet. Imagine going back in time and saying, "Do you want an answer to anything? Just anything, any question? You just Google it. Besides, why are we here? You can never answer that one."
I thought you were gonna say the answer to any question is Pepe.
Hold on, Biao.
Biao.
Thank you. She even said it like that.
It is like a cat. How? Yo, come on.
Biao. Biao.
Yo, this is the best day of my life. Fuck.
I'm moving to China.
Let's go. God damn. All right. Woo! It is like a cat.
Biao.
I didn't know. I was just guessing. But it absolutely said say Biao like a cat does.
All right, I want to give a quick shout out to Based AF. Those are some guys building some cool products as well. We obviously are holders in that. I think that's the last NFT I bought. The last NFT I degened with y'all on was Based AF. I'm gonna look at my man. God damn it! What's
Supermassive?
Yeah, Supermassive.
Now, you know what Apple also didn't mention? Not once. And this is kind of amazing, but it just goes to show how important it was for Apple and the entire team to claim new ground. And that is VR. It simply isn't there. Not at all, not in the entire 2-hour presentation, because the Vision Pro is not a VR device. And maybe that's why the FOV doesn't matter so much. They do use the words.
Go ahead, GIF.
I guess this is him just commentating about the VR Vision Pro headset. But look, he's churning out. They just churned out another video. I just shared this one because he's costumed up as like the antagonist from the Based AF world. But like he just shared another video, dude. They're churning out content like almost every day.
Which video? Share it to me.
Okay.
Share it to me, GIF. I would like to see the video too. All right, I'm watching the prices here on CoinGecko. Let's see if they're reacting any sort of way. We were sitting about 1730 when this news dropped. 1720. So nothing yet, folks. Still crabbing out.
One day things will turn around. Can you imagine, Q, how good it's going to feel when we can get up here and the thermometer on NFT Go is at like a nice breezy 68, 72 and like there's actually like some good projects that are getting real volume and like
drinking a pina colada.
Dude, we're just going to be vibing the market. Like Bitcoin's at, 39,000, 48,000 again. ETH's up around 3,000, 3,500 or something. Oh man, can you taste it? Can you dream with me?
I'm behind this. I'm moist as well. Prodigy's saying he's moist. I'm moist.
I think that was the Chungolution getting to him though.
Well, your comments on the upcoming bull market also did the same. All right, let's look at it.
Giving you levels. Well, that is the eye. Setting up the podcast. All right, let's do it. Yeah, we did.
They literally have Fraz Cola in like every single one of these videos. When Fraz, I want to get my hands.
I same. Prodigy said it, not me. All right, so what was that clip about?
That's not the point. The point is they are creating all different types of entertaining shit every single day over there was supermassive and based AF. So I don't know, man.
An art form attempted by many, but perfected by few. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
All right, we thank you for making it an hour, almost an hour and a half into NFT Live. You guys power us through this bear market, okay? Power us. I see y'all.
Smash the like.
I see y'all. Appreciate it. Our vibe, our tribe. All right, the last story that I've got. I do have a Uniswap V4. I think there's a narrative that could be talked about with like DEXs making a comeback, like DeFi kind of getting to product market fit maybe next cycle. So Uniswap is looking to go into version 4 here shortly. I guess they teased that, but we could touch on that tomorrow because I want to finish off with a much more important story, okay? Snoop Dogg Passport Series NFTs worldwide tour collectibles only for $46. So the only reason I'm not removing this from NFT Live dashboard is it's only $40. It does offer some pieces of access and utility. Still kind of like I'm not big on the celebrity influencer, or I would not even call Snoop Dogg an influencer. Like I'm actually slandering his name the more I talk. So I'm not going to say that. But Snoop Dogg NFTs, what do you got?
Well, because he's actually influential, so he's not an influencer.
Yeah, when you're not called an influencer, that's when you have influence.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. Look, to your point, $46, $50 for something that can actually get you access to some cool artists' NFTs and airdrops or other utilities. That's not the worst deal. It doesn't seem completely extractive if he's actually putting in work to curate and like partner with cool artists and shit like that. And I also want to give credit where credit's due. We have critiqued and criticized so many different Web2 personalities, celebrities, brands that come into the space just with their hands out, not actually investing themselves in it at all. They have really no interest in being part of the community long term, and they just provide crap to try and extract all of your ETH. Snoop Dogg's been here since day one and keeps showing up. Like don't forget, like he's done live performances with his Bored Apes. Like he's been in Sandbox. I think he's probably been like doing things with VFriends and VCon. Like I don't even know all the different projects that he's been doing. And I'm sure, look, he does of course see it as dollar signs and he makes money from a lot of this stuff. But I'm just saying, I think the guy is actually into Web3 for the creativity and the community just as much as he is the money. Because I don't know, man. It seems like he gets it a little bit more than a lot of people.
Or his team does.
His team does. And, for what it's worth, I'm not mad at Snoop. I'm just not. I feel like he keeps showing up and trying to experiment and create cool experiences. Whether you agree with it or not, or you think he's outdated and dumb, or you feel like he's just extracting value, I think he's doing it better than a lot of people are. So, you know what? Shout out Snoop. Big love.
This is a vibe.
He just is a vibe.
Snoop's
he's a walking vibe.
Damn. All right. Well, that was some positive news to end the episode. You know what? I'm gonna keep it there. We don't usually get a chance to reference a celebrity in a positive way into this space. So I
and
do
DP, being fair, he feels like he shows up, but kind of from a distance and could do more to interact directly with the community. That's fair, I'm not going to argue with that either.
Yo, this is actually kind of crazy. Prodigy is saying Prodigy definitely has a camera in my house. Him and Eminem did a whole music video together using their Bored Apes. I didn't even know Snoop was in a VFriends music video. Have you seen that?
No, I didn't actually know that was a real thing.
This is like a clip from the video.
Yo, see?
Translating, educating financial literacy. I'm speaking facts to you literally. Now take a few steps back, adjust your cap.
All right, we got some Bored Ape IP. We got VFriends.
Great, calculate.
Yeah, see, look. Yeah.
Reinvest in real.
Hell yeah, Snoop.
See,
real estate and try to stack 100 different meals on your plate. Deals on your plate. Yeah, it's true that dreams can come true.
look, I'm not saying that this is like solving all of our problems or anything like that, but the guy's at least literally like rapping about educating people on blockchain and NFTs and shit. Like he's at least fucking trying, man. And so I'm not gonna hate on somebody, especially who's like the guy could have retired. You know what I mean? Like the guy's old. Like he's an old dude at this point. He's probably in his fucking 70s, 60s, 70s, 60s maybe. I don't know. Maybe he's not that old, but like he's old.
It's very clear that Snoop does not give a fuck what people think about him, basically, because he's trying new things that often don't go in line with like rap culture and hip hop culture, and he's doing it, and he says, "Fuck off, I'm being me." So yeah, I appreciate that. All right, folks. That's the NFT Live for today. We made it to an hour and 30 minutes. I like this time. It's like an efficient. We're in and out. We're in and out on the Web3 news for the day.
We did it, fam. You did it, Q. You know what? Give some love to this man. Give the episode a like. He keeps showing up and putting up with all my nonsense and chungos and dink doinks or whatever the fuck. I don't even know some of these projects we've talked about this week.
Hopefully we get to a point where we do get some quality. You know? Well, one of these days we'll get there. All right. I'm ending the episode, folks. Wild Wild Web. I'm going to drop the link one more time. Harry Liu, if you want to know more about Web3 in Asia and the IP that's happening over there, he did a great job on that episode here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Does this show? I don't know if it's showing. No, it's not showing the background image, it looks like. All right, but check that out. It's video and audio. We will put it out on YouTube on Friday as well for you folks that are interested in that, and you don't leave YouTube, you weirdos. Get out, touch some grass. Peace. Our vibe, our tribe. Hold up. Breaking news. Snoop is 51. Dude, you slandered Snoop on that.
Snoop, my guy, just know it was not meant in any ill will towards you. I appreciate you truly for everything you do, and I hope you keep on rocking, fam, for decades to come. Big love, Snoop. Snoop Lion.
20, 30 years in you, Snoop.
Snoop Lion, bro. Snoop